The sound of a child crying has a way of cutting through the air unlike anything else. It carries with it something raw, unfiltered, a kind of pain that makes even the hardest hearts pause. In the bright diner, with its shiny checkered floors and the faint smell of fries and coffee drifting through the air, a young girl's sobs shattered the ordinary hum of chatter and clinking dishes. Her small fists rubbed at her eyes as tears streaked down her cheeks. To the casual observer, it might have looked like the tantrum of a child who didn't want her food. But to the German shepherd sitting by the booth in his canine harness, something was deeply wrong. The dog's ears shot up, his eyes fixed on the little girl, and before his handler could even react, the canine let out a sharp, almost commanding bark. The sound startled everyone nearby, causing a few heads to turn in confusion. The officer, standing beside his partner, furrowed his brow, his hand instinctively tightening on the leash. He knew his dog, trusted him more than he trusted most people, and when the shepherd reacted like this, it meant there was more beneath the surface. And in that moment, the diner, which had been just another stop in the day, became the setting for a story that none of them would ever forget. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the incredible loyalty of animals, please take a second to like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. It helps us continue sharing stories that touch hearts around the world. The officer leaned down, murmuring to calm his dog, but the shepherd wouldn't back down. His eyes stayed locked on the little girl, who had pushed her untouched plate of food away. She wasn't crying over fries or a burger, her tears carried something heavier, something that the dog seemed to sense before anyone else. The officer's hand brushed against the girl's booth as he tried to understand. She was alone, no parent in sight, no adult rushing to soothe her. The air around her seemed to carry loneliness, fear, and a silence that only children abandoned or lost could ever know. Her sobs grew softer, almost breaking into hiccups as she curled into herself. And that's when the canine, usually disciplined and still, moved. He nudged forward, pulling against the leash with a low whine, his eyes never leaving her face. The officer hesitated. Police dogs weren't trained to comfort children in diners, but something inside told him to trust his partner. Slowly, he loosened his grip, allowing the shepherd to step closer. The dog pressed his nose gently against the edge of the booth. The girl's small, trembling hand froze midair. Her wide eyes, red and swollen from crying, met the steady, unblinking gaze of the canine. And then, almost instinctively, she reached out and touched his fur. Her fingers clenched, not in fear, but as if holding on for dear life. It was the first moment of quiet. The sobs stopped. The tears slowed. Something unspoken passed between them, an understanding, a connection, a lifeline. The officer watched with a mix of awe and concern. His partner had found something no one else could see. Minutes ticked by, and the diner slowly returned to its rhythm, though whispers carried from table to table. People had seen a police dog calm a crying girl in a way no human had managed. But for the officer, this was only the beginning. He crouched down beside the booth, speaking softly to the girl. She didn't answer. Her lips trembled, her eyes lowered. But her hand remained tangled in the dog's fur, and she refused to let go. The officer's heart clenched. He'd been in law enforcement for years, had seen pain, fear, and loss in more forms than he cared to remember. But nothing struck him harder than a child in distress. And now, with his canine partner by his side, he realized that this was no random encounter. This was a cry for help, silent, hidden in the tears of a child who had no one else to turn to. Through gentle patience, fragments of the girl's story began to emerge. She hadn't been abandoned in the diner by accident. Her parents hadn't simply stepped away. There were shadows in her past, the kind that no child should ever carry. The officer pieced together her broken words with the quiet, unwavering presence of his canine partner grounding her. The shepherd seemed to understand her pain in ways that went beyond training. He leaned against her, letting her feel warmth and safety she hadn't known in a long time. Days turned into weeks, and what began in that diner booth became a journey none of them expected. The officer couldn't shake the encounter. With permission from his department, he checked in on the girl, guided her through the systems meant to protect her, and made sure she never had to sit alone with tears streaming down her cheeks again. The canine, once a crime fighter patrolling dark alleys, found a new purpose too. He became her anchor, her comfort, her silent protector. Together, the three formed an unlikely family. The officer, hardened by years of duty, rediscovered a tenderness he thought he had lost. The girl, once afraid to trust, began to laugh again, tentative at first, but then with the joy of a child who finally felt safe. And the K9, ever watchful, carried the role of guardian with pride, his loyalty deepening with every passing day. It wasn't easy. Healing never is. There were nights when the girl still woke in tears, haunted by memories. There were days when fear threatened to pull her back into silence. But every time, without fail, the German shepherd was there, pressing his head into her lap, reminding her she wasn't alone. The officer was there too, offering the steady hand of someone who refused to let her slip away again. Their story spread, whispered through the town like a legend of hope. The girl who once cried in a diner booth was now learning to smile, to play, to dream again. And it all began with a single moment, the moment a K9 reacted to a child's tears and saw the truth no one else had noticed. By the end of it all, the officer knew one thing for certain: sometimes heroes don't wear capes, and sometimes they don't even speak. Sometimes, they walk on four legs, with a heart so loyal it can heal wounds words never could. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Pawsitive Tales. Your support helps us continue bringing true, emotional stories of love, healing, and the unbreakable bond between humans and animals. Special request: before you go, comment below with the words "Loyal Hearts Heal" to honor all the animals who remind us of the power of love and second chances.